Good morning. You're listening to the Tax Problem Solver. Our phone number is 877-257-1040. You can call anytime you want. Someone will answer your call. You can also email us at ckm@taxproblemsolved.com. We can get your emails whenever you send them, and your phone calls. We're not there. We have a service that will pick up for you. All right, first thing we're going to do is we're going to go over some questions that we've recently received. We do that periodically. So some of the questions that we've received lately: the taxpayer owes a tax balance with their tax return and cannot afford to pay. What should they do? Well, most people are going to say, I'm not going to file the return because I don't want the IRS to come after me. Or I'll file an extension. Extension will give you from April 15th until October 15th to pay your tax return or file your tax return. However, the payment is due when the tax return is due April 15th. And there is a 5% per month penalty that's charged up to 25%. So April 16th is 5%, May 1st is 10, and June, July, and August 1st are another 5%. So if you wait and file that return in August and you owe $10,000, you now owe $12,500 plus interest. So file the return, and immediately, as soon as you get a notice from them, approximately mid-May, call that number on the notice and work out an installment agreement. You should be able to get a payment plan over the phone without giving them financial information. So you always want to file your tax returns. You never want to wait until you have the money. So that is very important. Another question we get is, what's the cause of IRS debts? I pay my taxes. I have withholding. Why are there people that owe money and get deals from the government? That's not fair. Why? Well, people find themselves with a tax debt for many reasons. They may lose their job, collect unemployment. Unemployment will only withhold 10% of the tax. The income is taxed. So that's not enough when the minimum bracket's maybe 15%. So there's that issue. When you're unemployed, typically people take money out of a 401k plan, out of their IRA, and these retirement accounts will only withhold 20%. They will not withhold any more. And people come to me and say, I took money out of my 401k or out of my IRA. I already paid my taxes on it. Now, you didn't pay your tax on it. You had withholding, just like you have withholding from your paycheck. And then when you file your tax return, you settle up based on what the total tax is and what your withholding is. You owe money, you have a refund. So you need to contact your tax preparer to find out if you're having adequate withholding from that retirement account in addition to your regular income. And if you're not, then what you need to know, how much you need to put away. And I tell my clients, buy a CD that comes due in April. You can buy a 30-day CD, you can buy a 9-month or a 12-month CD. Having a CD so the money is forgotten about until April when you need to file your tax return. So that's one way of having the money to pay. The other reasons, like I say, you lose a job, there's illness, you're self-employed, it's time to pay your estimate, your car breaks down, you need a new transmission. What are you going to do? You're going to pay that estimate, or you're going to get that transmission fixed so you can do your work and earn your income. You'll catch up next quarter. Next quarter, your kidneys braces. The next quarter, something else happens. Life gets in the way sometimes. So you need to prepare for it. You need to be better prepared for it. So that's what the usual cause of IRS debts is: a loss of a job, having to pull money out of a retirement account. If you're self-employed or if you're in business, the loss of a big customer really drops your income, or a customer or your sales start going down, and you don't want to let people go because you figure when the things bounce back, I won't have experienced people. Well, things don't bounce back as soon as you want them, and your payroll continues to go and all your overhead. and you run into problems, and then you stop making your payments. Another question we're asked a lot is, what should I do if I get a letter from the IRS? Well, first thing what you need to do is open that letter, read it, be proactive, and react on it. If they need information on your tax return, send it to them. I have people that will get a letter where the IRS or the state is asking for a copy of their W-2, or they're asking for this or that. Why are they asking for that? I can't answer that. They're asking for it so they can finish processing your return. Why they need that, I can't answer, because I file hundreds and hundreds of tax returns electronically where they don't ask for any backup information. They are. Maybe it's just spot checking to make sure that everybody else is conforming. So send it in. Well, that's stupid. I'm not sending it in. Well, you got a $7,000 refund coming. And if you don't send that in, you're not getting that refund. Well, it's stupid. I'll send it in. Well, I agree. Maybe it is stupid, but you have to send it in if you want it. And the other thing could be that maybe you missed something on your tax return. You didn't report some income. You owe a little bit more money. Maybe you did your tax return yourself by hand and you made a math error. Maybe it's something as stupid as you didn't sign the return. And they want you to sign a form saying that that was the return you filed. So open it and act on it. Don't just ignore it and say, it'll take care of it itself. Because the only sure thing about IRS problems is they don't go away by themselves. I have people coming into me with a pile of unopened mail. They have regular mail, a stack and stack of it, 30, 40 letters. Half the letters written to the husband, half the letters addressed to the spouse. They're the same exact letter each time. They send one to the husband, one to the wife. Then it's followed up by maybe 8 or 10 certified letters. So the first thing I do is I sort the mail, put all the regular letters aside, put the certified letters in front of me, get out my letter opener, and ask the client, is it okay if I open these letters? Sure, why not? So while opening someone else's mail without their permission is a federal offense. And I really don't want to commit a felony today. So that we laugh, they say, okay, I open it, and I say things like, you having your paycheck garnished? Yeah, it's been going on for about a month. What did that start? Why did that start? I said, because this certified letter tells you they're going to do it. That's all they did. They just send me this letter, tell me I'm going to do it. I said, no, in that stack of letters over here is probably 5 or 6 letters telling you that they might do it if you don't start paying. Then open another one and say, they've levied your bank account and emptied it out, haven't they? Yeah, they did. All kinds of checks bounced. Oh, it wasn't pretty. It was ugly. How come I didn't know about that? Well, it's because you didn't open those letters. Letters are telling you owe and what they might do. Now I open some more and I'll say, you have a federal tax lien filed against you. I do? Yeah. So have you checked your credit lately? Well, I did apply for a car loan and everybody else was getting 0.9% interest rate. Mine was 8.9%. I just figured, I don't know. I said, well, that's because you have a federal tax lien filed against you and your credit score dropped a few hundred points. Oh, well, what could I have done about that? Open your mail and address it. So then everything's in a hurry, and now I have a gun to my head to get levies released, garnishments released, liens released. And it's not impossible, but it is a lot harder than taking care of it right from the get-go. All right, another one is, what's the most frightening IRS letter? I'd say probably any letter you get from the IRS is the most frightening. To some people, it's you didn't sign your tax return. To others, it's you forgot to report $500 of dividend income. To others, it's an audit. To some, it's notice of a tax lien. Others, it could be a levy. Others, it could be a garnishment. And to some people, none of the letters are frightening. Why is that? Because they're not opening them. They don't care. Heads in the sand, that'll get taken care of. So you have to open letters. You can't just ignore the correspondence from the IRS because it just gets worse and worse. Just like when we were kids or when we had little kids. It's time to go to bed. 9 o'clock, my mom or dad would say, Charlie, it's time to go to bed. In a minute, Dad. In a minute, Dad. Phillies game's on. Can I watch it a little bit more? Can I finish this half inning? That half inning's over, and I still don't make a move to bed. It's 9:15. Charlie, it's time to go to bed. In a minute, Dad. In a minute, Dad. A couple of minutes later, what happens? I get a slap on the side of the head. Get your butt upstairs and get in bed. Okay. So when you get these certified letters from the IRS, I call it the 2x4 on the side of the head. That's the attention getter. When that happens, when the lien's filed, when the levy's filed, when the garnishment's filed, that gets everybody's attention. And then they're ready to do something. Prior to that, most people are not ready to do something. They figure it's a mistake or it'll just go away. They'll just eventually stop writing them. If they don't answer, they'll ignore me. Just like if somebody ignores me, I stop leaving. I leave them alone. I stop calling them. I stop bothering them. Well, the IRS doesn't do that. So, does the IRS call as a first contact? No, they do not. They don't call as a first contact. They don't email you. The IRS will probably almost never, ever email you. I can't email the IRS when I send them documentation. It would be so much easier. So many of the revenue agents who are the auditors and the revenue officers who are the collection people spend most of their time working out in the field. And when they're not in the office, they'll work from home. And I'm not so sure how I feel about that, having client records in somebody's house. Hopefully they have secure filing cabinets. They're fireproof to store stuff overnight or when they're not working on it. But they're out in the field. They're taxpayers conducting an audit. They're trying to collect money from taxpayers. So mailing them information sometimes would take a week or 2 weeks before they would actually be back in the office to get it. They would call you and say, I haven't gotten this information yet. Well, it's the 15th. I mailed it to you on the 4th. Oh, I haven't been in the office since the 1st. Well, why are you levying my client's bank account when I've sent you this stuff? You want it by the 10th. You haven't been in your office to look at your mail. It's now the 15th. So you're saying you don't have it by the 10th, so you're going to levy my client's bank account? What's up with that? And same thing with faxes. They're not in the office to get the fax. Fax machine runs out of paper. Nobody puts paper in it. Fax machine, somebody goes on the fax and they grab their fax addressed to them and they don't grab the one addressed to Joe. They just leave it there. They throw it away or it gets mixed in with theirs. Never gets to Joe. Now, pretty much everybody has a toll-free e-fax number that goes directly into their emails. So it goes right to them. In fact, when I'm trying to call somebody, if I call them and they don't answer, I typically will send them a fax right to their e-fax and say, I just left you a message. Please give me a call. Here's when I'm in my office the next 2 or 3 days that you can give me a call. So that works pretty good. Now, the calls from people demanding payments right away, they're all a scam. I don't hear about them so much anymore, but they call you, just hang up on them. So you've been listening to the Tax Problem Solver. My number is 877-257-1040. You can email me at ckm@taxproblemsolve.com.